Hey guys, back with vlog number 2. Today I'm going to talk about something that is a lot more common than we think it is. Something that I've personally experienced and I know a lot of people that have, but it's also something that is not talked about very often and I feel like it really should be. I'm hoping that by sharing it I'll be able to encourage somebody else to share their story, or even just understand and realise that what they're going through is normal and that things can get better. Before I launch into it, I just want to say that I am 100% okay now. In fact, I'm 1000% okay. Come through the other side and feel so much stronger and like confident, and that's kind of what I want to portray to people, is that it's actually, there is another side. Like, you may feel like you're constantly going uphill, but then you do come down the other side and life is great, so hang in there. Yeah, so as I said, it's a story that I haven't really shared, but I've always felt comfortable talking about it. I guess it's just not really the type of thing that comes up in everyday conversation. You know, like if someone says to you, "How are you?" You're not generally going to be like, "Oh, well, actually, I've been like really dealing with mental health lately and you know, it's taking a toll." It's actually quite sad that we don't do that, especially with people that we feel comfortable with. That could be at least the start of a way to start talking about it more and helping people understand that it's normal and happens to a lot of us. My story starts with my first baby, Leo, who I would not change anything for the world. Well, maybe I would have made my labour slightly easier, but other than that, he is an amazing kid. I had a really difficult labour. I didn't go into labour naturally, so I was induced. Once it started to kick off, it was super fast, super painful. And I just couldn't handle it. Like I felt like I went from 0 to 100 in seconds, although it was probably hours, I don't know, I was pretty out of it. And I felt like I didn't really have any control over the situation or what was happening to me, because he was so big and I had been given drips and injections and all sorts. I had to have monitoring pretty much constantly, so I couldn't really move out of the bed. The pain was so bad that I ended up having an epidural, and so I couldn't move out of the bed anyway after that. And then I think because of the stress of everything, afterwards I felt really exhausted and emotional. I felt like I couldn't really feed him properly. I felt like the nurses that I had around me were kind of telling me to do all these things and like making it sound so easy, but I was finding it so difficult. And it was the first time really that I felt like a complete failure. Like, I felt like my body had let me down. I remember someone actually said to me once, when I was still pregnant, "Don't worry, you know, your body's not going to produce something it can't handle." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool, that's a good thing to live by. Like, you know, women have been doing this for thousands of years, so, you know, like my body will get me through it, you know, like we'll come out the other side." And it just absolutely didn't. I mean, we did come out the other side, but it didn't like do what it was supposed to do. And so I looked around me and I felt like I saw all these beautiful people with amazing stories. They, you know, found things so easy, like they were breastfeeding easily. And it was kind of the first time that my brain was like, maybe you're not good enough. Maybe there's something wrong with you. And then to top that all off, it took me a while to realise, but I actually did have postnatal depression, and my depression decided to come out as something called intrusive thoughts. So basically it's quite normal for new mums. It's like when your brain tries to warn you about dangers, and so it kind of like imagines scenarios that could happen as a way to warn you off, or like make sure they don't happen. I suffered it really intensely, and the things that I was imagining were like horrific things happening to my baby, and quite often that they were things that I had done. I was so scared, like I felt like I was getting schizophrenia or something. and I felt like I needed someone to take my baby off me before I was going to hurt him. It was a pretty scary time and something that I'd never really heard about or talked about, so I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, that first kind of time of like your body letting you down and then your brain letting you down, not doing what it's supposed to do, not firing properly. The next thing that happened was that I started a new job. This was, a few years down the track. Started a new job, absolutely loved it, still love it if any of my awesome workmates are watching. But it was really, really hard. I had known that there were things happening in the world, but this was my first experience seeing it firsthand and feeling so powerless. Like, I felt like I had this duty, this responsibility to be looking after these kids, and I was looking after them all day, but then I was letting them go home to whatever they were experiencing, while myself, I was coming back here, settling down on my couch, like having nice dinner, being warm, being safe. I felt so guilty that I couldn't do more. And I remember talking to my mentors at the time and, like trying to work through this process that I was actually doing enough, but like my brain just didn't believe me. It wouldn't stop saying, you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, you're letting these children down. And so the stress of that stopped me from sleeping. I eventually started drinking a lot. It was a pretty dark road that I started to go down. I started to feel like when I was drinking, I wasn't really in control of myself. I started to like create these fantasies or these realities that actually weren't true. I couldn't really trust my brain. I couldn't trust what I was thinking, what I was doing, and I kind of felt like I'd like really just lost control of myself and who I was. And it got worse and worse until the point of pretty much breakdown, which is when I realised I really needed some help. And so I went to see a counsellor, talked through some stuff, like ended up taking some medication, which again was a really hard thing to do, because by taking medication you're almost admitting to yourself that you're not right, or something's not right with you, or your brain's not right. And that was another huge like, fuck, I'm a failure. My brain's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not firing properly, it's not making me happy, it's not producing the right emotion. So that was when I realised that I had pretty severe anxiety. So taking medication, going to counselling helped a lot, but I still couldn't shake that feeling of like failure. Like I was so hard on myself, and this medication is disguising the monster that I am. Like, this is not who I really am, it's just covering up the real me, and the real me is this horrible person. And it took so long for me to realise that actually like the medication was helping me to actually be the person that I am, that I truly am, and it was just giving my brain a break from all of that crap that was like just like firing through constantly. I remember running a half marathon, and I remember my really big thing was that I wanted to run it without walking. Like, I pushed myself so hard in order to feel like I was in control of myself. Like those times when I don't know if you run, but those times when you're running and you're getting tired and your body's getting sore, especially in a half marathon, your brain starts to go, nah, you can't do this, give up, just walk, it's okay, no one will know that you walked, you can say that you ran, like just pretend, just chill out, why are you doing this to yourself, stop doing this to yourself, like your body's not meant to do this. I was like, no, fuck no. I am in control of my brain. My brain is me, but I am in control of my brain. I am running this whole thing. And I remember getting to so many points in the race where I was like, I've got to give up, and then I was like, no, you can do this, keep going, and I pretty much like constantly over and over and over said to myself while I was running this race, pain is temporary, you can do this, pain is temporary, you can do this, pain is temporary, you can do this. And I did it, and I got to the end, and I was so like relieved and exhausted, and like felt like I had been through this huge battle of my mind and my body, and I had won, and like I was so just all of these emotions that I cried at the end. I like sat down on the ground, I flopped down, and I was just like in tears. And one of my really good friends, Kate, she came up and was like, well done, you know, that's awesome. And I was just like, I read the whole thing without stopping it. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know if I ever really explained that to my friends at that time, but yeah, that's kind of what I was going through. Overcame that battle, understood a lot more about what people around me had been through. Felt really lucky. There were some definitely dark days, and I could kind of understand how some people might choose to take their own lives. I think when you're in the thick of mental illness, you feel so trapped all the time. Like, I felt particularly that there was no relief, there was no release. Like, I can see how people get to this place where they feel like they have no other option, and I don't know what the answer is, sadly. I guess just talking about it, sharing stories, like letting people know that it's okay and that things will hopefully work out. I mean, that's my experience anyway. So where I am today, I know I've just made this whole video about like failures and acceptance and like not being perfect and trying not to put pressure on yourself, but I'm starting to feel like these same thoughts creeping back into my head again. Like, I'm pregnant with baby number 2, very pregnant, and I'm a couple of days overdue now, and I spent this pregnancy like trying so hard to be healthy and to keep exercising and to keep moving and like do things so much differently than I did with Leo, in order to have this beautiful, amazing natural labour where I don't have to have drugs, I'm not going to have a cesarean. And I'm at this point now where I'm like a few days overdue and my mind is starting to go, maybe it's not going to work out for you the way that you want it to. Maybe you just have to accept that your body doesn't do what other people's bodies do. And I know deep in my mind and my heart that like it's okay. There's no need to be perfect. I don't need to put pressure on myself. I've been through these experiences and I have learnt from them, but yet I'm still today thinking, here we go again, it's going to be a difficult birth again, I'm going to end up having a cesarean again, I'm going to be a failure again, my milk's not going to come in again, and I just have to be like, no, stop it, you know, stop comparing yourself to other people, stop putting this like intense pressure on yourself to be perfect. Just accept what life has to give you and embrace it and just do your best. That's the message, you know, do your best. So yeah, that's my story. I hope that it inspires somebody out there to reflect on their own story and to start to heal and feel like, you know, that experience that you went through has something amazing to teach you, because I feel like every dark or every hard, difficult experience always has a silver lining. If you did want to share your story or ask me anything else about mine, I'm here. Just let me know. Yeah, okay. Whew. Peace out. Hopefully catch you for vlog number 3 at some point. Hopefully I will have a baby by then.